Great fight at the Barclays Centre tonight. Daniel Jacobs becomes the mandatory challenger for the WBA world title, but more impressively, how do you look good, that good, after a fight like that? Sponsored by Gucci here tonight. And Danny, over to you to say a few words.
Oh, well, first off, tough customer in Sulecki, undefeated. And my thing is, being that I'm called out these top names, and I can't get those top names when I want them, we go down a list of great contenders. He showed tonight that he had true grit. He showed tonight that he belonged. And however you want to grade the performance, the crowd definitely enjoyed, and ultimately that's what it's about. So I'm happy with my performance, and I look forward to bigger and better things. Thank you.
To the floor, guys, for questions.
You said after the fight that you were able to knock him down in between punches. What was different in that moment versus the other 11 rounds?
Well, my trainer said I set it up with the jab, and that's kind of what we abandoned. Going into the fight, I knew I had to look impressive, and I was wanting to get the knockout, but he was a tough, durable guy. You know, sometimes you got to set it up, you got to take your time, and in the later rounds, both of us was a little bit more tired, and I caught him perfectly, but it was all set up from the jab, and I know going forward that I can't really abandon my jab as much as my trainer tell me to, you know, implement it inside that ring. So going forward, I'm looking forward to bigger and better things and fixing mistakes every time out.
Daniel, over here on your right, you said in the ring that you were confident going to the 12th that you were ahead, and so you could go for the knockout there. But there had been a lot of ebb and flow in the middle rounds. He kind of found his punching range. At the end of 10 rounds, it seemed like you had a different sense of urgency in the 11th and 12th. Did you feel anything there like you had to step it up?
No, I just wanted to finish strong. You know, like I said, I keep a dialogue with my trainers inside the corner, and every round they let me know I was up, and every round that maybe was a little toss-up, he'd let me know I could have done better. So going into the later rounds, the championship rounds, I mean, ultimately what I was thinking was just to give these fans a great show with a bang-out, and that's really what I wanted to do. I just wanted to stand toe-to-toe, try my best to get the knockout.
I think the most impressive thing that Danny's done is he's fought two guys where he hasn't got a lot to gain in those fights, but they have everything to gain. You know, the first one, an undefeated fighter against Arias. This one, a much better fighter than Arias in Sulecki. You know, and he's come through. So he's proved his worth. He's the one going out there fighting the undefeated guys. And now he must have a marquee fight next, because he will rise and box even better against the better fighters. And, you know, I think it's very important that he fights a Charlo, Golovkin, Derenchenko.
How about Danny going to the UK to fight Billy Joe?
Oh, I would love to fight him in his own backyard. I'm that confident that I'll beat him.
They can definitely make us an offer.
Yeah.
Or we can put a show on. But again, you know, we're proud of the deal we've done with Danny, and also the fact that he's doing extremely well over here, and he has HBO backing him, and they've backed him in 2 fights, and now they want, along with us, the big one. You know, we came to HBO to fight Gennady Golovkin or Canelo. Since then, the division has split and opened up a little bit, so there are big marquee fights out there for him outside of those 2. But, you know, again, it's really on the network to deliver the fights that we came for, and that's Gennady Golovkin and Canelo. So obviously it slowed down a little bit in that process, but, you know, it was a great atmosphere tonight. Danny entertained the crowd, and I feel that next time we're back here, you know, the crowd's going to be even bigger. And if it's a marquee name rather than a guy that no one's heard of before, with all due respect to Sulecki, even though he's a great fighter, he's going to do very, very well.
Danny, Andy Emilio, ES News, man, congratulations with the win. I just really I was talking about it with Chris earlier in the week. He was telling me how you guys would like text and send YouTube videos of like the old Archie Moore stuff. So just from the boxing perspective, getting into your boxing mind a little bit, was it a little bit experimental in the ring? Because I thought with the Archie Moore, the cross guard defense, and you turning southpaw, do you think that you really just used this fight as kind of a test to bring out some new tools in your arsenal? And
Absolutely, yeah,
okay.
100%. I definitely think in boxing, you know, sometimes you got to try new things, and I'm a student of the game. I love to learn different things. I love to apply different things inside the ring, not just in sparring matches, but in actual match. I knew that he wasn't the biggest power puncher, so there's several risks that I can take with trying to learn different things. And ultimately, when I fight those bigger names or bigger punchers, then hopefully I've had enough experience to be able to implement those things sufficiently.
Danny, Keith Heidig from BoxingScene.com. What are your thoughts on the possibility, if the IBF strips Golovkin of his title, of possibly fighting Derevianchenko, who obviously you have a close relationship with, and Andre, of course, trains?
I have no idea. I leave that up to my team. Obviously, we want the big names. With all due respect to Dermachenko, we want to have those opportunities. He's like family. He's a part of my stable. So it would definitely take a lot, but at the end of the day, we have bigger names, the green belts, and just ultimately the big names. That's really truly what we want. And obviously, me and Charlo got a little thing going on, so that's something that I'm trying to pursue as well. But if the opportunity presents itself, and this is the only opportunity, I will have to think long and hard about that.
All right, Daniel Jacobs. James Bell with the Boxing Source. We talked a little bit after the press conference as far as how Sulecki would approach the fight and that he may give you a little bit more openings. Were you surprised a little bit about how he was able to move around the ring and in and out of the pocket, especially in the first few rounds?
Well, not necessarily. I just think that I didn't really want to go in there and box him because I realized that when I was going side to side and I was using my jab and using my skill, that he would, fall off balance, that he would miss me, he would have to find me again. And I knew I could win that fight like that each and every round, but I didn't want to fight that fight. I wanted to knock him out and, show a message to the world. And we wasn't successful doing that, but in the end result, we still had a great show, and that's really what it's about.
Andre Rosier, Danny Jacobs seemed to be
Rosier, he said Rosier.
Excuse my English accent. Excuse my English accent. Danny Jacobs seemed clear up on the scorecards. Was you a bit worried when he seemed to press the fight to sort of impose himself on the crowd a little bit when he could have shut up shop and maybe stood behind the jab?
Well, no, we have viewed many a tape on Sulecki, and actually we noticed that when pressure was applied to him, that he would have negative responses. And that's what we were actually looking for. Behind the jab, and for Danny to go downstairs to the body. And as you saw in the bout, every time Danny pressured Sulecki and threw wonderful body shots, the reaction was just what we were looking for. We needed a little bit more of that, but I had to settle Danny down a bit because he was hungry for a knockout. It's almost like a shark in blood saturated waters. You can't stop it because they want it so bad, but we had to settle him down and get him to work the way he was supposed to, as in the 12th round, where that beautiful knockdown came from almost a lack of effort. He didn't try, and it floated its way across that ring and to Sulecki's chin, and you saw what the end result was.
What would you like to think they could see him do next as a trainer? What would you like to prepare him for?
Well, I mean, we have a date with destiny against Golovkin. I would love to have that rematch. I thought Danny did enough to win the first fight, and I think he deserves another shot at the title, another crack at reform and to get revenge for a very, very, very close bout. If not, then there's the grudge match with Charlo. He's been talking a good one. And as Eddie said so eloquently about losing his soul in the basement of the Barclays Center, whatever is at the top of the mountain, that's where we want to climb.
You've had disputes in past moments with Billy Joe Saunders, with your partner Abadil Katidze. Are you prepared to put Jacobs in that sort of situation?
Well, actually, the first dispute that Billy Joe and I had was because of Danny. And I told him, I said, well, I heard you mouthing off about my son. And he says, your son? He says, I'll whoop your ass with your son. And that's when it all started. But, I mean, it was a lot of entertainment banter. After it was all over, he actually came over and hugged me and said, Coach, it's just for the cameras. I really have a lot of respect for you. But I would love for Danny to fight Billy Joe. I really would. I think it would be very entertaining and tactical bout. Billy Joel is a very good boxer, and he's a good southpaw. So it would be an interesting bout, and I think it'd be highly entertaining, and I hope we can make it happen.
Danny, firstly, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
You're in a great gym, and you've got a lot of top fighters in your gym. How do they help you prepare for the fights, and do they really, really push you on, like the likes of Saddam Ali? You've got Richard Comey now in your gym. Are they really helping you progress, and will those type of fighters make a difference in the long term?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the energy and the vibe inside the gym with all us top elite athletes, it's just an energy that, you vibe off each other. And that's how I actually got better as an amateur. I had the chin checkers. I had Louis Collazo. Chin checkers is Jadon Condriton and Curtis Stevens, if you didn't know. But I had those guys, so many different guys that I looked up to, but we all shared the same gym. And that's exactly how we got better, vibing off each other, learning off each other. And it's the same vibe with all us, including the Russians that we have. I mean, we have a list of world-class caliber guys, and I think it makes us all better.
Brilliant, thank you. And just there's been a lot of names, touted around tonight. Is there one name you'd like next?
Charlo. Yeah.
Last question, guys, if you got one.
So I was a little upset today. Reason is because Brooklyn didn't come out like Brooklyn needed to come out for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Brooklyn guy. Last week, the place was packed. This place was packed. What do you have to say about the fans that didn't come out necessarily to see you? Because you put on a great show. Miller put on a great show. I wanted to see this place packed like it was last week, and I want to see you make a lot of money with this man.
Thank you.
Just to confirm, he made a lot of money tonight. Yeah.
Say that again.
He made a lot of money tonight.
Oh, good. That's what I want to
It
hear.
wasn't gate related. So
Okay, that's what I want to hear.
For that. Don't worry, it's gonna be fun.
But in all seriousness,
Yeah.
Danny, do you want more support from your Brooklyn people?
I don't necessarily look at it as lack of support. I just think with an opponent that I had, he wasn't the most recognized guy. But I do think that someone who's highly recognized as a threat with a 50-50 fight, in most opinions, I think those would sell out the crowd and bring the Brooklyn fans in. Because at the end of the day, guys, people, the fans who pay their money want to see great shows. So if they're not coming out, it's because maybe they don't know who this guy is and they're not expecting him to bring it. I mean, let's just face it. A lot of people were expecting me to go in there and knock this guy out. The fans who did show up got a great show. And then people watching it on HBO also got a chance to see a great show. But at the end of the day, it's progression. I'm climbing that ladder. I can't force people to come out, but all I can do is try to perform well so that the next time out, the buzz could be going. You seen that last performance from Jacobs? Next time I'm gonna go and I'm gonna support him, and hopefully by that time we'll sell out the Barclay. But it's all love. Brooklyn spread love, and that's exactly what we're gonna do in the future. I look forward to being back here at the Barclay, and performing against an elite caliber type guy. We took this guy's O, just like we took the last guy's O, and we're not gonna fight. We're not going to cherry pick. We're not going to go down the line of what I call scrubs. But at the end of the day, I just want to make sure the fans are happy. So that's all I can ask for.
Last one, go. It's all about money. It's all about sitting down and looking at the financials. Danny Jacobs is ready for that fight. We know we'd have a deal with Danny Jacobs to make that fight. And then we'll sit down with Al and talk about the Charlo fight. Obviously, you've got Danny's on HBO. Charlo's been boxing on Showtime. So it's always difficult. But, it's a fight where both guys will make a lot of money. It's a fight that would sell out the Barclays in a heartbeat. And just to say what Danny said, and he's right. When you're fighting guys like Sulecki, you're not going to fill the Barclays Centre. Mm-hmm. Because you're just expected to win, and no one knows about Sulecki. You fight Charlo, you sell out the Barclays Centre in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. So you need a dance partner sometimes to fill these great arenas. But the crowd was good tonight. The atmosphere was great. Everybody left with a smile on their face. Everyone got value for money, and that's what it's all about as a promoter. So Yeah, making fights is easy if both guys want to fight. And Danny Jacobs now wants to fight an elite name. So any of those guys we put in front of him, we know he's going to be first to sign a dotted line. If the others want to play, then we're good to go. All right. Thank you, guys. Well done,
Thank you
Danny
very
Jacobs.
much.